So now, please welcome the official, non-official, non-sponsor of the Savannah Bananas, but a big fan. Please welcome John Fletcher.
Well, thank you, my friend Jesse Coleman. Welcome to a special edition of 15 on Fridays with Fletch. You're going to love our guest today, Larry Levine, the founder of Chili's. Let's face it, we've all eaten at his restaurants. He is the entrepreneur of entrepreneurs, and this past March celebrated the 50th anniversary of his baby, Chili's. He built the concept around an incredible culture and unique burgers, and he inspired the entire casual dining concept. He's been an adjunct professor at University of Texas at Arlington. He's also been featured in Bud Kennedy's Eats Beats podcast for the Star-Telegram. He's been featured in D Magazine and a whole lot more. He's consulted such concepts as Alamo Drafthouse, Bar Taco, and Macaroni Grill, and he's still creating his own concepts. Somehow entrepreneurs just can't stop. So we're going to be talking to the founder of Chili's and a truly fun guy who I met through our mutual friend, LinkedIn guru, Terry Sullivan. So please welcome the founder of Chili's, Larry Levine. Larry, welcome.
Good. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Tell us, first of all, you're known as the visionary for creating the Chili's concept. What was your aha moment in that?
Well, my childhood friend and I were trying to do just a neighborhood restaurant, and we got sidetracked and did a dinner house first. And then the location became available that we wanted where the original Chili's was. So we jumped on that and opened it, and it took off slowly. We did $100 the first day and then picked up every day thereafter.
Tell us,
like you said, we were early on the curve for casual dining. At the time, there were cafes and dinner houses. There wasn't much in between. And we were kind of one of the first casual restaurants where you could not either get a $2 meal or a $200 meal. So our timing was perfect.
Well, and then also tell us about the moment where you saw the line wrapped around the building, and that helped you know you were there.
Yeah, we slow, like I say, we started slow and picked up and got busier and busier. And then one day my office was in the back. It was a cold winter day, and I had the back door open for some fresh air, and I heard some commotion outside. And I opened the back door, and there's a line around the building. And that was the day I figured, well, I think we've got a concept that'll work. We waited a year to make sure it wasn't a flash in the pan, and then did our second store in Houston, which was probably about 250 miles away from where it should have been, but it worked. And then we came back to Dallas and did more stores.
Right, and you were known for your burgers back then and even today. What was the secret recipe of your burgers that others didn't have?
We were early on the curve also for half-pound burgers. At the time, everybody was serving thin, greasy hamburgers. And we did a half-pound burger. They have them everywhere now, but back then that was a big deal. But what really worked is we were very discriminating on the meat we used, and we used a supplier that cut the steaks for Steak and Ale. So they would stake the trimmings from when they were cutting steaks and put it in our hamburger meat, so they had a steak flavor to them and made them stand out.
Now, do restaurants still do that now? Haven't you said that that there's regulations that change that?
That's correct. You cannot take meat that's been touched when they're cutting steaks. You can't take that meat if it's been touched and use it for a product like a hamburger. Today they'll take those trimmings and sell it to Pizza Hut that cooks it at 800 degrees, and so there's not any chance of hurting somebody.
Well, and other concepts tried to replicate what you did: Fridays, Applebee's, Bennigan's, and more. How did you respond when suddenly, on every corner, it seemed that you were getting new competitors?
We really didn't do anything. We just kept doing what we were doing. Everybody thinks when they copy something they can do it better, and they changed. At one point, Applebee's was bigger than Chili's and growing pretty fast, but they somehow lost their way and lost their quality, and they're not doing very well right now. So we didn't really at the time have to do much to change from the competition. We just kept doing what we were doing. Pretty simple menu, but high quality food.
Well, let's talk about the simple menu as opposed to you go and look at some places that have an 8-page menu or a 12-page menu.
Yeah.
Talk about simplicity.
Well, of course, the ultimate example would be Outback. well, one of the In and Out that has one item on the menu, a hamburger. It's hard to do that because the public today wants a little more variety. But Chili's over the years has expanded their menu, and then that new team that's in there, which are doing a great job, they trimmed about 25% of the menu off so that they could, what was left, they could do a better job and turn out quality food. And I have a thought in that no matter what size your menu is, every time you add an item to the menu, you take something away from what's there, in that there's only so much time in the kitchen. And if you put another item on, you're taking a little bit away from everybody. So you got to be careful as you expand the menu.
Tell us about, Rebecca would have me ask you about Schlock.
Oh, when we slowly expanded the menu, we wanted to put nachos on the menu. So we didn't have broilers where you could melt the cheese on a nacho. So we had a bean dip that we put on it. And then we needed cheese of some form, but we couldn't broil it. So I came up with a concept of a cheese mixture, which was chili and cheese and milk, which was a good tasting product, but a terrible looking product. And so, but the public never saw it because it was covered up with other items on the nachos. Years after I left, somebody decided they'd serve that as an appetizer, and it's wildly successful now. And it still looks as bad as it always did, but it has a good flavor and it's very popular.
Well, and it was kind of one of those off the menu things that that had to be a regular to know to ask for it as well.
Right. That's right.
Very much like In and Out with their special menu.
Right.
You had an intensely loyal following throughout your restaurants, from your servers and cashiers to your chefs. How did you motivate and keep them when there were so many competitors?
From the start, my philosophy was to have a family spirit about the company and treat everybody like I'd like to be treated if I was in that job. And we would, it wasn't that we were so brilliant, it's that we just wanted a great spirit about the company. And reflecting on it over the years, I've always had a strong emphasis on building a great company culture. You can't keep paying people more money. You'll run out of money, and the money loses impact with them. You've got to show them you love them and you appreciate them and give them a chance to grow. And I've always tried to do that on Chili's and all the other concepts. And if you'll treat the people right, or they like what they're doing, then you'll have less turnover and create a great culture. And that's why a lot of Chili's had thousands of people employ them, and it's always fun when somebody says I work for Chili's and love it. So that's a great feeling.
Well, don't you also feel that your employees were your best recruiters?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the best. That is the best recruiter you can get. And if they love it enough to tell their friends, you can't beat that. So again, I think it's the responsibility of the leaders to create an environment where people like working for it. I used to say that if you like your job, you give it 90%. And if you love it, you give it 120. And I think it's the leader's responsibility to create an environment where you love the job. That doesn't mean you don't hold them accountable, but you show how much you appreciate them coming to work every day.
Well, and Chili's just March 13th, I guess it was, celebrated its 50th anniversary. Tell us what you did on that day.
Went to the restaurant and tried a lot of their new items. The home office was kind enough to have a cake for me, and a managers all came out. So it was a fun day, and really proud that they're still around after 50 years.
That's great. Well, with its $10.99 promotion called 3 for Me, Chili's is providing greater value than McDonald's is with its Big Mac meal. Tell us about how that's working.
Well, in talking with the Chili's people, that's been on the menu for some time, but the current team, that Kevin and George, the marketing guy, have done a great job and saw that item and said, look, we're going to promote that item, because to eat the same amount of food, get the same amount of food that you would for $10.99 at Chili's, you'd have to spend more to go to McDonald's. So the customer said, if I'm going to spend $14, I'll just go to Chili's instead of going to McDonald's, and I'll get it for $10.99. It's been a great promotion for them, and only a certain percentage of their customers order that to start with, and most will say, well, 10.99 is such a great deal. I'll buy an appetizer while I'm here. So it's been a great promotion. They're just doing a fantastic job with.
Well, plus they're also, aren't they giving you endless drinks and also, so you get refills on your soft drink or your
That's
tea,
right.
and you're
Yeah.
getting refills on your chips or your fries. So, I mean, it's an extraordinary value. And now,
Yes.
and now you're seeing McDonald's try to come back and create new combos to combat, because they realize that you have a casual dining restaurant creating greater value than McDonald's is as a quick service.
Yeah. I thought to myself, and then finally read that somebody wrote what I've been thinking, in that with Chili's promotion, they have really changed the dining, the climate from casual to fast food. In that, like you said, if I can go to Chili's and get something cheaper than I would going to McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or Burger King, that's where I'm going to go. So if you go to the fast food restaurant, from Burger King to McDonald's and the hundreds of others out there, they all have to have a special now. Otherwise, they're going to lose to Chili's. So it's really changed the climate. So you can go to Dunkin' Donuts or Jack in the Box or McDonald's and get a $5 or $6 meat. And
Yeah,
it's been great for them.
it's incredible. Well, and then also you're in your own restaurants. You've got your own concepts. So tell us what your newest concepts are and what you've been working on the last 3 or 4 years.
The last 3 or 4 years, I opened a big barbecue restaurant in Dallas called 1050. And then I've been doing some consulting for other chains across some in Texas, just to help give them a new viewpoint. And that's a lot of fun. But my next goal is to try to find a concept that's got some potential to it and put a team around it and expand it.
You use the word team a lot. Tell us why it's important that it's not just about Larry, but it's about the folks that you work alongside.
Well, I have an internal formula. If you're going to build a chain, the concept's got to be valid. If it's fried Czechoslovakian food, that's probably not valid. But if you've got a valid concept, then the next most important thing to me is the team, in that you want bright, honest, hardworking people with a passion that fit the culture. And that's what makes the difference. And I'm not the one, and the leaders of the executives are not in there every day. You've got to set up an environment where the people in the stores are passionate about trying to serve the customer, and the team is super, super important. I think that was certainly one of the reasons that Chili's was successful. I was fortunate to have assembled a team of really bright and hardworking people.
So when you do your next concept, it could be anything. It just all depends upon what inspires you at the moment. Or is there a certain category? If you were to say you wanted to change the look of steakhouses or something like that, or what's just kind of a ballpark that you might look at?
Well, as I'm looking for concepts to try to purchase, I would look at either casual or fast casual. I don't understand the fast food market. There's some people that really do and made a lot of money with it. And the fine dining $150, $200 check average, that air is pretty thin up there. So I feel comfortable in the casual or fast casual segment, where you have very wide customer appeal.
Well, and so tell us what's next. We got a couple of minutes left. Tell us what's next for Larry Levine. As I know you're doing some speaking, you've done some adjunct professoring. What else is on the table for you?
Well, again, I'm looking for a concept to try to buy. Perfect world would be in Dallas. I have a fun project I do every year for my high school at Highland Park. They have an entrepreneur class, and they make a pseudo company that the students in this class make a pseudo company, and then they make a pitch to a panel of judges to try to raise money. And it's really interesting. I've done some of those at colleges, and these high school kids have done a great job putting concepts together. And it's a lot of fun to do that. I wish they had that when I was in high school.
That's great. You would have started restaurants earlier.
That's right.
That's it. Well, Larry, thank you so much for joining us today for 15 on Fridays with Fletch. We will be having you back again because you are one of the most intriguing people I've ever met. So thanks for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again on the next week's edition of 15 on Fridays with Fletch.
Thank you, John. Goodbye.